Hi, I'm Brian Urban with CounselEAR, and I'm joined today by Brad Dodson from BlueWing Hearing Care. And we are very excited to tell you about the brand new phenomenal integration between CounselEAR and BlueWing, and how it can have a huge effect on your practices. So, welcome, Brad.
Thanks very much. Nice to see you here.
Yeah, good to see you too.
Thanks for having us.
To get us started, why don't you just tell us about BlueWing?
I sure can, thank you. BlueWing Hearing Care has been around for almost 50 years. In fact, sister company Darwell has been around, fourth generation now. And hearing care particularly, 25 plus years in hearing care. So we've got a really good footprint in hearing care. We're a direct and digital marketing full service agency from start to finish. We don't outsource anything. So very excited to talk a little bit more about our partnership here.
Fantastic. So I have to be honest, in my private practice, we would do some direct marketing, right? And we would buy a list of 10,000 names based on a few criteria. We'd send out a mailer. Honestly, we didn't get much from it. And so my impression from that was that, direct marketing is dead.
Yeah.
How do you feel about direct marketing?
Well, I think it all comes down to even the relationship now with CounselEAR. I think direct marketing's come a very long way. And with artificial intelligence and data analysis, we in fact have a very large data science team, and really they're just tasked with making sure that our direct marketing is productive and relevant. So it's come a long way, and certainly not the only one with those type of results. But you'll be surprised to know now, with our ability to look deeper into your prospect pool, that changes completely. And by that I mean this integration with CounselEAR allows us to get more information about current patients, right? That we want to understand what those patients look like. We want to understand why they purchased from you in the first place. Taking that data, matching it to a consumer file where we can extract more information about every one of those patients, financial background, their demographics, their geographic background, gives us a good footprint, a good understanding, a fingerprint, if you may, of the perfect patient that purchases from your practice. When we take that data, we're able to then layer that on top of your zip codes around your practice and really rank and score just about every consumer from 0 to 100. 100 meaning, or 90 to 100 meaning that they are indistinguishable from your current patients, and ones below 40 or 30 in the score range are irrelevant. And what that does is that reduces the prospect pool. So why you're seeing erratic response, and why most have seen erratic response in the past, is because you just have such a large prospect pool.
So you're able to take a custom approach for each clinic or clinic group. You understand their patients, and then you're able to extrapolate that to the potential patients out in the greater pool, and then target those patients directly.
100%. And being able to have that data available to do that is really where this automated process comes from, right? So no longer do you have to get your data somewhere, do you have to move anything around. Our integration will allow, of course, if someone's interested in working with us, to take advantage of that automation, take advantage of it being available for use and for modeling. We call this data modeling. It's a process by which we use your existing insights from your patients to understand what the prospect pool around your practice looks like. Now, it's great for an individual practice who has just one location and understanding what that prospect pool looks like locally, but also with multiple practices. Your patients in one area may look very different to your patients in another area. But if you're just using a consistent age and income criteria to pull a prospect file or a prospect list, it's very two-dimensional. It doesn't have enough information. They're not going to be the same in this area as they are in a different area in another part of the state, as an example, or in a different state altogether. So this is the most accurate way to find those prospects that have frequented or done business with your practice in that particular location.
That's fascinating.
Right.
So that has kind of the prospect side of things,
right.
The idea of patients that obviously we want to bring to our practice and keep the cost of new patient acquisition as low as
Correct.
possible. Let's talk about current patients. So existing patients in the practice, how would the campaigns, address them?
So for your existing patients, and congratulations, by the way, I understand that you have some automation of your own.
We do, yes. So we actually launched a marketing automation system that, based on a series of triggers, will send out emails to patients automatically. right? So it's a set and forget approach. Allows you to keep cultivating your own patient database. And so, yeah, we're really excited about that. We feel it's very customizable and user-friendly. And we're also excited to see how that can work directly with campaigns through BlueWing.
Well, I'm so glad you said that, because this is absolutely identical, just with a piece of physical mail in the mailbox now. So we are doing the same thing with triggers. In fact, they're probably very complementary to the triggers you've already set up. Birthday cards, warranty upgrades, test not sold, cancellation no-shows, all of these buckets that you typically use in your digital platform and your email marketing services. We'll be able to do the same with the same data available to us directly to those patients. So it's a patient trigger program. Since we commingle everything, it's at a very, very cost-effective, simple cost per piece structure. There's no additional software. There's no additional cost for utilizing this, whether we send out one piece per week or 50,000 pieces per week. It really doesn't matter to us. But this is a great way to complement those existing services that you'll be providing, and additionally have something else directly in the mailbox as well. So it's going to focus on very similar triggers. We'll use that data. We'll be able to use our data science team and our analytics to dissect that data and put it in these certain triggers or buckets that we'll have, and we'll work with the client on, and the same process, same customization available, all of that set up on the forefront. So it's completely automated and easy to do versus having to pull lists and send lists and do all this with data. Everything is going to be completely automated for you. It's a great compliment.
Very interesting. Yeah. So, throughout this, you've talked a lot about data, and I referenced earlier, lowering the cost of patient acquisition. One of the challenges in my private practice was always just tracking this, right? So we had the tick marks on a piece of paper next to the phone, and that's how we knew how many calls came in, right? Not very sophisticated.
Yeah.
So could you tell us a little more about how, as a practice owner, practice manager, you can see the data, you can understand it over time?
Well, and that's probably a terrific ending on this, and that is what's available for the practice owner in terms of how effective is this marketing, both prospect and on a patient level. Until now, you've relied on call tracking, which is a great front end part to this analysis, right? You're understanding who is responding to these pieces, and then on the attribution side, you're relying on a lot of your staff to ensure that they are correctly attributing what's happening when those calls do come in. Now, we'd like to take this a next step, and the step further, and that is being able to take the patient data. There's always that the patient goes through a particular process. They respond to the marketing, they come into the practice, they have their appointment, and best case scenario end up being fitted for hearing instruments, right? Because there's that trail of that patient flow through your database, we're able to then track that back to the actual mail files used, and that's the magic in this.
So
right?
You can determine who received a mailer.
Correct.
See the information for which patients actually scheduled an appointment, which came in for a visit, and who eventually may have purchased hearing instruments. So you can see that full kind of patient life cycle accurately, without necessarily having the office staff being 100% accurate on tracking exactly where that lead came.
There's always a little bit of human error that's bound to happen. We try to ensure that, and I'm sure as practice owners try to ensure that their staff know how to attribute the marketing efforts and the calls that are coming in. But there's always going to be, obviously a concern that sometimes it doesn't get attributed properly, where you may not feel your marketing pieces are very effective. This is a very black and white ROI analysis, right? It is a return on investment, taking your current sale file and your sales going through your database and your practice management software, and attributing it back to the mail files, the actual patients that were targeted, or the prospects, if you may, that were targeted. So we're going end to end, complete transparency. You can use the front end call data and attribution through your practice management software at the start to determine how effective those campaigns were, and you can reconcile it on the back end when you see it all match back directly to your sale and appointment file through this process. So you'll have a wonderful dashboard to look at. It's an ROI-based dashboard that gives you a little bit more insight into how effective, based on how many hearing aids were sold or how much revenue was generated from those marketing efforts.
That's fantastic.
Pretty good, right?
That's fantastic.
That is pretty good.
Well, I'm very excited. I know you're excited as well.
Sure.
If you have any questions, if you want to learn more about the CounselEAR BlueWing integration, please see our contact details below, and we'd be happy to talk with you more. You can always reach out to Brad directly anytime. He'll chat you up. He'll tell you all about
look
this
forward to
fantastic
it.
program.
Thank you very much. I appreciate being a part of this today.
Wonderful. Thank you.
Thanks, Brian.